Hello folks. Well, about 10 years ago when Spektrum introduced their DX6i radios, there were no lights on them. I made a power-on light for them because I kept forgetting to shut them off. I had two transmitters, so I made the light different colors on each, so I knew which transmitter to grab and fly with. And especially helpful if you fly in the dark like I do. Right after I made those videos, Spektrum began adding power lights and screen lights, which was great. I've lost all those transmitters along with over 140 different ones, including all my antique and vintage ones in the fire. You may remember the contest I had to guess how many transmitters I actually had. Well, after the fire, many folks sent me their older radios to help me restart, which I'm very appreciative of. Well, I think back to 1979, 40 years ago when I worked at Craft RC Systems, and remember one of the perks was our 1 year of employment to be allowed to make our own Craft Signature Series radio for free. I still have it as it was on the shelf of the basement, not burned up in our fire. That was the best top-of-the-line transmitter of the time and cost $1,200 retail back then. It had plug-in transmitter modules for different frequencies, of which there were only 7 at the time, not counting the 5 that I could fly on the ham band because I had ham license. I got that license so I could be a tech on the Signature Series line for Phil Craft. Well, that was a lot of money back then. Today, everybody that flies RC has many transmitters. Times sure have changed. Well, I purchased a DX8 Generation 2 and have settled on that transmitter as it does everything I need it to do. It has a memory card also, so if I run over it with a car on a night fly, I can get another and pop in the card and not lose the 42 models I now have in it. Adding that memory card was a great new feature because having radios with 150 model memory and no backup meant that if something happened to the transmitter, all those trims, servos, adjustments, and settings would be lost. Of course, if the card is damaged, that could be lost too, but I save mine to my computer. I'm also not one of those guys that have to buy every new transmitter that comes along or update to have bragging rights at the club, just like having a new cell phone. I just have what I need, as I never needed any transmitter with over 7 channels anyway. But you know, some scale flyers do. One of my longtime friends, Lloyd Romeo, who I used to work with when we were making parts for the space shuttle, sent me some RC stuff last year, and one of the radios was the Spektrum DX-7. Well, I decided to add it to my Aerofly simulator as the stick seems smoother than my DX8 Generation 1 that I usually use. I do not use my DX8 Generation 2 for the sim, as that I saved that one for my real helis and planes. Both the DX8 Generation 1 and 2 have lights these days, but that DX7 did not. I found that I had left it on after flying the sim 3 different times and wound up finding out I had a dead battery the next time I wanted to fly. So for that reason, I decided to add a power-on light to it. So this is for those who may have the same transmitter and might want to do it too. I put links into the ones for the DX6i so you can use that for that too. In my early DX6i's, I used incandescent bulbs and lens, but today I'm using a 12-volt LED cut out of a 12-volt strip. It'll work just fine on the transmitter's 9-volt power and is plenty bright enough to see. So here's how I did it. First, you want to carefully remove the case back. Next, you want to gently unplug the gold antenna jack from the transmitting board. Now you can unscrew the transmitter board and move it aside. Next, I melted a tiny hole in the speaker grid with a soldering iron. Then I measured the voltage of the input of the speaker board. Note the voltage reads minus 8.37 volts. So the terminals actually will be plus on the left and minus on the right. Mark them as shown. So using one LED from the 12-volt strip, I soldered the plus wire to the resistor end and the negative wire to the right side of the LED as shown. Flipped on the switch and tested it. If it doesn't work, reverse the wires. I only had a white LED, so I put a piece of green electrical tape on the inside of the transmitter grill as shown. Well, then I aligned the LED over the hole and put 1 drop of specialty thick CA on the side of the LED strip glued to the tape and hit it with the quick accelerator. You must be careful with this step. You may also use amazing goop, but I didn't want to wait 20 minutes for it to set up. Now it should all look like this. Go ahead and reinstall the transmitting board back on top and connect the small gold antenna jack as shown. Don't forget to put this little lens cap over top of this. It sits on there loose like that, or you'll be bummed when you put it all back together and realize you forgot to put that on there. That's the only light that's on. That's your range test and binding button for your DX7. Typically you wouldn't see that. Well, this is perfect. I can fly my simulator all night, and after I'm done flying, I'm not going to forget to shut the transmitter off because I got that light staring me in the face. So that makes it perfect. So I like this a lot. I think I'm going to make one of these out of foam board. That's a pretty neat airplane. Well, there you go, folks. You know, I worked in electronics all my life, so this was actually fairly easy for me to do. And it works for me. If you do this yourself, make sure you be careful and pay attention. Thanks a lot for watching, and happy flying. And please subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Make sure to click that bell. Till next time, Night Flyer out.